Welcome to Chapter 3, Supply and Demand. So these are considered to be the building blocks of economics. And we're moving past that intro unit, and it gets a little bit tougher from here, but I think it'll be okay. The learning targets are listed below for you, what the demand curve is, the difference between movements along the demand curve and actually shifting the demand curve, and if you shift the demand curve, what factors cause the demand curve to shift. So that's what we will look for in this lesson. So we'll look at demand first here, and quantity demanded, or otherwise QD. You can label that QD from now on. Quantity demanded is the amount of a good that buyers are willing and able to purchase. So maybe you're willing to buy Justin Bieber tickets, but you don't have enough money. Or maybe you have enough money, but you'd rather not spend it on a concert seeing Justin Bieber. So you'd have to be willing and able to buy those tickets that you would want. The law of demand basically states that when the price goes up, quantity demand is going to go down. And if the price goes down, quantity demand will go up. So it's just a simple inverse relationship. We do use a Latin phrase, it's called ceteris paribus, and basically it's keeping everything constant. And so, yeah, there might be some other factors when the price goes up or down that may have an effect on quantity, but we're going to keep it simple, and if the price of the product goes up, then we say in general the quantity demand is going to go down, and vice versa. Ceteris paribus. Well, this is pretty simple. This is what a demand schedule looks like, and you can see the chart below. It just shows the relationship between the price of the good and the quantity demanded. And for our presentation today, we'll be talking a lot about ice cream, and so now you know why I have ice cream in the background. And for 0 cents, this person is willing to buy 12 ice cream cones. At 50 cents, 10, and $1, 8, and so on until it's $3, and it's no longer worth it for this person to buy ice cream. Her opportunity cost would be too high, and she'd rather spend that money on something else. Here is a demand curve, and you can again see the demand schedule below, and then you just plot those points there. It's pretty simple. Price on the vertical axis and quantity on the horizontal axis. P for price, Q for quantity. And at $3, again, this person's not willing to buy any ice cream cones, and if it was only 0, she would be willing to take 12 ice cream cones, and you can see the numbers in between there. If the price decreases from $2 to $1.50, you can also see then that most likely the quantity demanded would go up. She would be willing to buy more ice cream cones if there was a lower price for that ice cream cone. So the next couple of slides are kind of interesting. We're looking at making a distinction between a change in quantity demanded and change in demand. So we'll first look at what is a change in quantity demanded. You may want to underline the word quantity. So quantity is a movement along the demand curve, and it has to be caused by a change in price of that product, since that is what we're measuring on the vertical axis. Anything else would change the demand. So when we say quantity demanded, we are talking about the price of the product. And here's just a simple illustration here, changing quantity demanded. Price goes from $1 to $2, and so we have a movement on the curve from A to B. There's no shifting of the line, it's just a movement on the curve, and again, this is called quantity demanded. Shifts in demand. So what if it's something other than price that changed the product? What if it's some of these factors below? What if it's the weather? What if it's your expectations? What if celebrities endorse the product? Well, then it's not the price of the product that's changing, but it's some other factor. And these factors are consumer income. So if your income goes up or down, will you buy more or less of a good? Prices of related goods. If you go to the store and frozen yogurt's on sale and you're going to buy ice cream, well, you might buy a frozen yogurt instead because it's a substitute and it's cheaper. It doesn't have to do anything with the price of ice cream. Your tastes may change. Maybe Adele comes out and says how wonderful ice cream is, and so you might want to be kind of like her and decide to buy some ice cream. Your expectations might change. What if we find out that ice cream is actually very healthy for you and can prolong your life? Well, we would see an increase in demand. And finally, if there's more buyers or less buyers, we shift the curve to the right or to the left. So here is the clear distinction that we need to make then. Again, a change in quantity demanded is a movement on the curve caused by a change in price of that product. However, for a shift in demand, there's going to be something other than price. It's going to be one of the factors that you just wrote down. So it's going to shift to the left if it's a decrease in the demand, or it'll be a shift to the right if it's an increase in demand. Again, this is caused by something other than price. Let's talk about consumer income for just a little bit. Now, as your consumer income goes up, if you get a raise at work, there are some goods that you'll buy more of and some goods that you won't buy very much of. These are called normal goods and inferior goods. So if you're sitting there and you just got a part-time job, what have you just bought recently? Well, maybe you bought a car. And if you did buy a car, that would be a normal good. It's an example of a normal good. As your income goes up, you buy more of it. Now, if you bought a car, you no longer have to rely on the busing transportation anymore. And so your demand for the busing transportation will go down. That would make it an inferior good. So one way to look at this to make it easy is that the normal goods are more of the luxurious goods, and the cheaper goods are more of the inferior goods. A normal good might be a house. An inferior good might be an apartment. A normal good might be a steak. An inferior good might be a hamburger. So those are just some examples. And just note that if your income goes down, the opposite, if your income goes down, well, maybe I have to sell my house now. So the demand for a normal good goes down, and maybe now I need to buy an apartment. And so then the demand for the inferior good would go up. Another shifter that was mentioned previously was the prices of related goods. And we're just going to look at that a little bit closer here. We have both substitutes, which we talked about before with frozen yogurt and ice cream, but there's also complements, goods that go together. And so another example of a substitute might be when you're going to a store and you're buying some fruit, and apples are on sale, oranges aren't, and so you might decide to buy apples. Well, that is a decrease in demand for oranges, not because of the price of oranges, but because apples, which are a substitute, are cheaper. Complements, on the other hand, go together. Gasoline and cars, software and computers. ketchup, mustard, hot dogs, hot dog buns. Those are all substitutes. Ice cream, chocolate syrup. And so when the price of cars goes down, well, the demand for gasoline is going to go up. If the price of computers, laptops go down, well, the demand for software will go up because, again, they are complements. So finally we come to the last slide here, and just a review of what we've learned. You don't need to write any of this down, but it's just a good review. Again, a price of that product at that time is going to be a movement on the demand curve, and that's a change in quantity demanded. If it's anything else other than price, it's going to shift the demand curve either to the left or to the right. And again, those shifters include income, prices of related goods, tastes, expectations, and number of buyers. And I'll be harping on that a lot because it's very important to know the difference between a change in demand, which shifts the curve to the left or right, or a change in quantity demanded, which is just a movement on the curve.